Hi everyone, welcome to my talk, a look at ROI, before you decide on that DXP. Firstly, a little bit about me. My name is Jake Kula and I'm the DXP lead at Melbourne-based digital agency Revian. I've been developing on the Kentico experience platform since 2008, at which time the latest and greatest version was number 3. This is also my second year as a Kentico experience MVP and my first time speaking at Connections. During my time developing on the Kentico Experience platform, there is a common theme that I've taken note of across many implementations, a topic that comes up in many a sales meeting. And that is to understand what contributes to a positive return on investment. In this talk, I will look at the most common factors that are attributed to a successful implementation when it comes to ROI. Specifically, I will cover 2 ways of looking at ROI and the characteristics that define them. The most common ROI, which is focused on positive returns in line with what the underlying business is providing. These are generally more easily identified at the early stages of a project. And the less discussed ROI, which is based on the mitigation of running costs that are associated with the lifespan of a DXP implementation. And unfortunately, these are sometimes only discovered in the middle of a project lifespan. Just a couple of notes before we begin. Although this is a Kentico experience focused talk, the ideas expressed here are not vendor specific and are aimed at any DXP implementation. And the information provided here is not a checklist of hard and fast rules, but rather suggestions based on my experience within a digital agency as a Kentico experience developer. It's no secret that measuring and reporting on ROI can be challenging at the best of times. Firstly, there is the more common result-based ROI that is focused on measuring how successful conversions are based on what the underlying business is offering via their digital channels. A simplified example of this ROI measure might be, on platform 1, a financial quarter yielded 1,000 conversions, and on platform 2, a financial quarter yielded 3,000 conversions. However, when trying to prove this ROI, difficulties can arise. It's unlikely that the ROI measure will be as simple as this example in a real-world application. And even this simple example can get quite complicated if we look deeper and realize there are factors to consider, such as the time period analysis might be subject to socio-economic factors. For example, Platform 1 may have been measured during COVID lockdown, and Platform 2 during post-lockdown. Platform 2 may have been implemented with a revised information architecture and in conjunction with a UI refresh. So even without the platform change, these factors alone would most likely equate to far better customer engagement. Maybe Platform 1 would yield even better conversions if analyzed at a different period and having undergone a UI refresh. It's sometimes difficult to tell. The second kind of ROI is less talked about and is focused on the mitigation of the running costs associated with a project during its lifespan. A simplified example of this ROI measure might be, on Platform 1, considerable hours have been invested in the area of infrastructure due to security vulnerabilities and in marketing due to extended effort to maintain content. On Platform 2, however, the opposite is true, as there have been no security issues and the marketing team has been empowered by the DXP to do their job easily. However, again, trying to prove this ROI can be challenging. Specifically, it's not easy to show that a DXP has successfully mitigated $250,000 of running costs because there were no security breaches, because the development team extended the system efficiently, because content marketers went about their job without complaining about the platform. It's hard to justify mitigation based on something that didn't happen. What is the $250,000 figure based on? Can you even put a dollar figure on this ROI? It would be difficult to. And if you're buying a DXP with an expensive license, isn't it just normal that everything is wonderful, that everything works splendidly, that all internal teams fall in love with it? The answer to that is no. It is not just an assumed normal. And although, yes, that is what we would like a DXP to bring to the table, it's often not the case. As you can see, Sometimes measuring ROI can be a subjective and tricky proposition when looking at how a DXP can improve conversions and how a DXP can be cost effective over the course of its lifespan. The following is a list of the most common boxes to tick regarding both kinds of ROI when deciding on a DXP. Again, these are suggestions based on my experience as a Kentico experience developer and as part of the sales team. Having said that, they are also based on a long history of many DXP implementations and specifically influenced by client feedback, sales activities, and being in the trenches working as part of the development team. The first, more front of mind kind of ROI is based on the DXP feature set and the promises and optimistic projections that come with it. Having been part of the sales process for quite some time, one main takeaway I have is that a DXP platform like Kentico Experience is easy to demo to decision makers. Generally, decision makers in the sales meeting will be focused more heavily on what the system can bring to the table in terms of how easily marketing teams can use it so as to yield higher conversions. As such, there are three main facets of a DXP that provide a solid result-based ROI. The ability to translate business objects into content, page editing capabilities to empower marketing teams, and the big one, marketing automation to engage the audience. Let's take a closer look at each one of these in more detail. The first is ensuring that business objects can be easily translated into content. Content is the lifeblood of websites. It is the way in which companies engage with their audience and provide their services and information about their services. The content on a website needs to reflect the information that the business is providing. It is the key to digital transformation and is a fundamental part of any website. A good DXP should provide powerful content modeling tools that enable the creation and maintenance of a hierarchical information architecture, from the simple to the sophisticated. A good content architecture will ensure that marketing teams are able to create content that represents the business accurately. Good content architecture is supported by powerful and flexible content modeling tools, the ability for custom code additions to allow for modeling that goes beyond the out-of-the-box capabilities of the DXP seamlessly, a facility to manage the information architecture effectively and efficiently, and finally, a solid back-end database to ensure data integrity. The second is page editing capabilities. Once a solid foundation has been laid with the information architecture, it is critical that marketing teams are empowered by the DXP and not hindered by it. A good DXP should provide a user interface and tools that make content management easy and intuitive. An intuitive and easy to navigate UI is imperative for marketing teams to do their job without hindrance, as is the ability to navigate the information architecture. At a more granular level, on-page editing, drag and drop components such as widgets, reusable templates, content tree component-based page building facilities enhance the overall content creation experience. The third, and arguably the hero feature of any DXP, is marketing automation. In my humble opinion, the importance of user engagement can't be emphasized enough. The audience is no longer satisfied with a digital billboard, and the online audience expect an experience relevant to them, especially as the web offers the audience an abundance of alternative choices. A good DXP should, number one, provide comprehensive tools to allow for audience segmentation by means of methods such as visitor grouping and personas. It's the ability to understand the audience in a meaningful and structured way. And without this, marketing teams really won't have any way of targeting key segments. And number two, a good DXP should provide a variety of proven tools to engage the audience segments. Tools such as content personalization, marketing automation, EDM campaigns, A/B and MVT testing, and lead scoring. In summary, it is important to understand what contributes to a positive result-based ROI. After all, the shiny new DXP has a job to do, and that is to grow the online offering of a business. A result-based ROI satisfies the strategy and growth initiatives that are driving the new development project. 3 points to look for in a DXP are powerful content modeling tools, flexible and intuitive ways to manage content, and powerful segmentation and engagement tools as part of a marketing automation suite. Decision makers are usually thoroughly impressed and satisfied with a DXP's capabilities if these 3 points can be ticked. The second kind of ROI is cost mitigation based and relates to the running costs over the lifespan of a website. Unfortunately, this less discussed kind of ROI is sometimes only considered post-implementation and becomes apparent when things might not be going as well as initially planned. A project rarely stops at initial implementation. Far from it. The loose general consensus in the industry is that the lifespan of a website is around the 5-year mark. From personal experience, in many cases, over the course of a system's lifespan, further development on projects has either matched or exceeded the initial development efforts. More often than not, when our website launches, decision makers and marketing teams are already planning a phase 2 with added functionality, additions to the existing information architecture, integrations into other systems, and the list goes on. Further to this, there are times when a business goes through changes as it grows, shrinks, or makes a slight pivot in what it provides and how that is translated into its digital transformation strategy. As such, it is fundamental to consider how well a DXP platform will handle a dynamic playing field over the course of its lifespan. But what about the core of the DXP platform itself? Although the above points, custom development make up a chunk of the continually improving system, but a DXP that was implemented several years ago is at its core that many years removed from the latest security considerations. Over the lifespan of a website, primary considerations to make based on the cost mitigation ROI are the ability to adapt to business requirement changes, the level and quality of vendor support, and security. Let's look at each one in more detail. As businesses evolve, the need may arise to ensure that website functionality translates business changes accordingly. A system that is flexible enough to shift with the business as it scales up, scales down, or makes a slight pivot will greatly show ROI by mitigating associated effort and cost. A good DXP should be more than a CMS with advanced marketing automation features. It should also serve as a development platform. As such, a good DXP should provide a logical code and database architecture that is easily managed via tools such as Microsoft Visual Studio and SQL Server, access to code and the ability to easily debug functions in real time, easy access to customization options via API and the tools within the DXP, a comprehensive API and supporting documentation to allow for custom development for the purpose of extending existing functionality seamlessly without the need to alter core application code, developing new functionality such as custom modules and custom third-party integrations. The latter, something that not only should be supported by the API, but also by the DXP itself, to allow for seamless integration into the UI and the administration console. A DXP that provides the above will lessen the friction between business and DXP during times of expansion. Support, one of the most important considerations to make when aligning with a platform vendor. The level of multifaceted support that a vendor offers in regards to their DXP platform can either provide ROI by significantly reducing system running costs or can help to run your system into the ground. Over the course of a website's lifecycle, what kind of support will the development team who are looking after the DXP require? From experience, I can tell you that this will generally fall into the following categories. Assistance when developing complex mechanisms such as custom development pieces and integrations. Is there extensive documentation pertaining to API and common design patterns? Is there an active developer community? Is there vendor support help for non-critical issues, such as at times of planning and development? Critical support assistance, such as that during downtime. Is there a fast responding global network of support agents? How fast will you get vendor support at critical times? Is there a premium support offering above the level of a basic support plan? The third point is security. New ways of attacking a website are on the rise, and the digital landscape is becoming an increasingly complicated one to stay safe and secure within. We live at a time where websites are handling an abundance of sensitive data, and cyber laws are becoming increasingly punitive. Client IT infrastructure teams will in most cases ensure security at a hosting level. And apologies for quoting a cliche, but a secure system is only as strong as its weakest link. And to ensure that the DXP system is not that weak link, it is important to have the peace of mind that a secure codebase is running. A DXP platform that was implemented 3 years ago is essentially sitting on technology that is 3 years old. And this includes vulnerabilities that may not have been vulnerabilities at the time. Continuous security patching, driven by a vendor who has their finger on the pulse, is crucial when it comes to security threat mitigation. A good DXP vendor should be on top of security risks with continual and up-to-date patches to keep the system on the latest and safest codebase. This final point is about reducing the effort of client infrastructure teams and having faith that the vendor is supporting you with a secure codebase. In summary, it is important to understand what contributes to a positive ROI based on the cost mitigation of DXP running costs. Although a DXP might increase conversions, ROI will be negated if the running costs over its lifespan are substantial. When considering cost mitigation-based ROI, the 3 points to look for are the ability to adapt to business requirement changes, the level and quality of vendor support, and security. The most common kind of ROI is driven by expectations of how a DXP will increase conversions and improve the digital transformation experience. But the less discussed kind of ROI looks at the life of the website or system and addresses the ways in which expenditure costs are mitigated. Depending on the kind of project that has been implemented, either one of these two ROI variants can yield the greatest financial impact. But whatever way you look at it, it is important to note that both ROIs should be given considerable thought. And more importantly, it is absolutely imperative that before you decide on a DXP, ensure that the selection ticks both boxes for both types of ROI. Thank you for your time today. It was a pleasure presenting the importance of ROI, something I hold a strong interest in. I hope I was able to provide you with a useful takeaway point or two.